I understood that I always have to ask myself, out of which energy is my action coming? Is it coming out of fear or out of ego? Or is it coming out of something higher? So I started seriously journaling around 2018. For me, it was that I would go into meditation and I would suddenly get this realization with very, very specific information that was very powerful for whatever it was that at the moment I was pondering. And it felt like a download. It felt like it came out of nowhere. It felt like it only came if I was able to just be in the silence, in the inner silence for a while, and not be in my thoughts, giving space for that. And the reason that you can recognize a download is just the magnitude of the understandings, the level of the details of clarity, the undeniable sensation of understanding and truth. And then my instinct at the beginning was to immediately get up and write it down. It's just the level of intricate detail made me want to get up, thinking that I would forget. It was a struggle sometimes for me to understand if I should continue to do that and get up and try to capture this amazing information, or if I should just stay in the meditation to see where this is leading, because maybe I'm cashing my chips too early, as they say. And if I had just stayed in that energy in that moment for more time, something greater would have revealed itself. So this went on for some years. I journaled a lot. I started to fill up notebook after notebook with all of this information, and I thought I needed to do something about it, maybe write a book or publish it somehow. And recently, as I wanted to start to record this podcast, a lot of strange synchronicities began to happen. It's like one day I was going to do the first episode and nothing was working. For some reason, the recorder wasn't working for really unexpected reasons. And okay, so I have to break it up. And the next day I tried and it was working, but now something else wasn't working. I think it was the antenna of the microphone was not charged. So I charged that, and it takes a few more hours, or the next day when I try again, and then I'm already recording and trying this when outside of the studio suddenly a water pipe breaks and bursts, and the sound is crazy and it's just spilling water with pressure all over, and of course I have to break it up and go fix that. So I began to have the feeling that maybe it's not the moment for me to share this yet. Another example of this is whenever I started to record myself, I had a very good feeling about the idea I wanted to talk about, but as soon as that red dot in the camera was shining and I simply couldn't be myself, I would be like bleh, bleh, saying I had to stop myself a million times and try again, because the energy was simply gone the minute that I knew I was recording. I was like disconcentrated, thinking about the wrong stuff. And it was then that I really began to understand these downloads are for me primarily. These downloads are for me. And I am a person that when I get excited and I'm getting download after download, I just have to sit in meditation, and I wanted to know more and write more and know more and know more. But I wasn't really giving myself a chance to integrate. And I finally understood that it's not time for me to share this. I need to let this information sink in me without distraction, without being run by either fear, in the case of interrupting a meditation because I'm afraid I'm going to forget, or by ego. When I'm video recording myself and I want to take credit for this, and I want to be the one who had the download and published it and did it perfectly. And so I understood that I always have to ask myself, out of which energy is my action coming? Is it coming out of fear or out of ego? Or is it coming out of something higher? Out of a connection with my higher self, a connection with God, a realignment with my authenticity and my authentic path. Because none of these other examples are coming out of authenticity. Whether I think I'm going to forget something, I think I'm not remembering at that moment how powerful I am, that I always have access to this information. It's not going to go anywhere. And it's not authentic to be the one who wants to claim credit for the information. And it was always super interesting to notice the difference in the feedback that I was receiving from the universe. So when I'm flowing in authenticity and I'm acting out of my highest purpose, the universe is like, yes, you want to do that? Here's a tool. You want to go there? Here's money. Listen to her. Walk through that door. And when I'm in ego or in fear, I'm like, universe, look, I'm doing all of this. What's happening? And the universe is like, it's like completely giving me the cold shoulder. It took more than a year for me to say, okay, pause. I had already bought all the stuff that I needed to do the recordings at home. And I was like, no, it's not the moment. And yeah, a lot of progress was made. That was for me one of my greatest lessons in the later years. Yeah, and for me this tendency to want to publish, to want to pass on these truths, these teachings, was the savior complex in me. I was forgetting that I can't really help anybody if I haven't helped myself first. If I haven't really integrated all these lessons, I haven't written down somewhere and I read it again and I haven't integrated them in my life, that's not the moment. And also the metaphysical aspect of it, by me just sitting there in meditation, in the understanding of this higher truth, that in itself starts an energetic ripple that reaches not just humans here on earth, but the whole creation. So it didn't matter whether or not I was publishing it physically in some medium for other people to access. The ripple was already underway, but only if I really understood it, if it really sunk in, if it really integrated in my flesh and bones. When I enter this elevated consciousness, sending and receiving, speaking and listening is all the same movement. No need to publish my ideas, because just sitting in the understanding and then applying them on my own life is what helps everyone. So the most important aspect here is the concept of authenticity. How much authenticity is really key here. I wish to follow my path of authenticity, which means to become aligned to my highest mission, which means to do God's will. Every action that I execute, I do so not because I'm trying to steer the show, but because I surrender to my higher self, or God, to act through me. I am the executor of the action and the witness of it. I act out of the certainty of my intuition, and every action is aligned to my higher purpose. I know what to do when each circumstance presents itself, and I don't question or strive to know what will be next. And then on the 19th of January of 2026, I journaled very precisely what my mission is. My mission in this lifetime is to understand the programs running the human mind, the invisible patterns that keep us disconnected from our true nature and trapped in endless suffering. My first task is to learn how to hack these programs within myself. Everything I share is simply a reflection of that journey. If it inspires others, it will be because they recognize something true in themselves. Last but not least, I want to talk about a dream that I had during the time of these journal entries, and I was standing at the edge of a sinking ship, chaos happening behind me, and I knew that I had to jump, but I couldn't see anything. Everything was simply black. And nevertheless, I gathered courage and I jumped, and then suddenly I find myself in solid ground and I am completely out of danger. I didn't know that this was going to happen, but this is how the dream went. And it means that I love to talk about the chain of huge words: trust, relax, surrender. That is in one of my first episodes for this podcast. But sometimes the movement is trust and act. Trust, relax, surrender is one side of the equation, but trust and act is the other one, which is just as important. All right. Thank you for being there. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, comment, because this type of content is anti-popular. The algorithm is not gonna favor it because very, very few people are interested in these things. So to help the video, to help the channel, help me out. See you next time.